It's like laggy. What I intend on doing with my paper and my presentation is talking about how, the way media portrays news in ways that cultivate our views over proper news coverage, how it creates a sort of division between people who watch networks and gather the same information just in different viewpoints. The way I wanted to go about it was use like disassociation, because I feel like these networks are taking the topic of taking the concept of disassociation and like solely like trying to get to the people who have the same views, and like whatever's going to get them the most ratings, they're going to talk about it. Outlets like MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they're some of the well-known networks viewed today for anything that's considered news amongst our society. When I use that term, I use it very vaguely, in that what counts for news today could be the topic, of our president, how many times he's gone golfing. It seems what we deem as news, what's aired on news outlets today, isn't really things that like affect our daily lives. Like it's more or less become more of like a gossip between, a fight back and forth between different things. Well, this is right. Well, this is right. Instead of actually reporting on things that matters. They're doing this solely because it's all about the money, the ratings. And my question is, how do you know if what you're viewing on television actually is the truth? In this point of my presentation, I wanted to show a clip from the movie The Network, which appeared in 1976, and it talked about how at that time there were so many different networks, and they were competing to get the most ratings, make the most money, keep their company afloat, and stay alive. And in this, Peter Finch's character makes a mind control speech, and he talks about how television is all like, a lie, and if you want the truth, you should go to yourself to seek it, because that's the only place you're going to get it. And how do you know that, what you're getting is real, or if it's just, to be blunt, bullshit. Basically, television is fake news. Anything could be talked about, and what we as viewers, we eat it up. And I just want to know why this is and how do we solve it. So next in my presentation, I had a graph that detailed 3 of the biggest news outlets, Fox News being one of them, and how their viewage has rose compared from 2016 to 2017. And Fox News clearly skyrocketed around the time the election was happening, and around the time the election was happening, and continues to rise because they're highly Republican and other outlets are Democratic, and it's just this fight back and forth, back and forth. What I related to this, or what I am planning to relate to this, which is the cause of the problem, is a sort of like disassociation between the networks and different people who watch the networks. I feel like they're so wound up into, their own world that they like, if no one else has the same sort of views, they're not going to want to listen to them. They're disassociating themselves into their own reality, their own, sense of what they think everything is. And if you don't think that this is what this is, then I don't want to talk to you. That's something that I'm thinking about relating it to. But it seems that, these 3 outlets, seem to be the leaders who start the competition on who can get the highest ratings and continue to add fuel to the fire when they just go back and forth about what each have said and call each other liars. And what I'm also coining the term of a President Trump fake news, since he's the one who started it. Honestly, I do believe that he may have had a point in the term fake news, that a lot of news today is that, like, it's fake. They don't report on things that actually impact us. And there's a multitude of things that I feel that could be done to fix this. I believe there needs to be a first and second order change. And we as people need to cultivate a first order change where we put the option of going out into the world to seek true information, where we force outlets to actually report on real news that affects everyone. And yes, while we have that option right now to go out to look at multiple news outlets and seek out that information, the true information that we should know, I feel like people don't really utilize that as well. 300 people actually died in Egypt in bombings a year ago, and it was barely talked about on the news. that's something that should be talked about, because I feel it not only impacts, their country, but it impacts us, like humanity itself. Like, people are dying for no reason, and it's being talked about for like 2 seconds. A second order change, I feel, comes into play also, where we need to restructure the way that news outlets report on news. It needs to not solely be based off of, well, this person said this and this person said that. We need to, and this may seem impossible, band together to actually report on things that impact people's lives. And I'm not saying they don't do that all the time, but I feel as though there could be a change. There could be something that gets put into play that actually helps the news outlets report on what they should be reporting about. And Kenneth Burt talks about attention, how we as humans, we're drawn to whatever sticks out, and that anything will draw at our attention. So I feel if we take what takes our attention and what exert that energy, that energy we put into what puts our attention out there, in getting the news outlets to actually report on things that actually matter, weeding out false information in this type of climate where people can publish articles online saying that they're this person and they heard this from this person when it's not even remotely the truth. The news could actually be what it is, news.